Folks, this is just another page in my book, my second book that I hope to publish. My daughter told me that I should explain my poetry, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm just going to give it a shot today and see if I can. This is the poem. As a child, I flew as a bird. Alone I flew to all the places I knew. Now that you can soar as an eagle, what excuses? What excuses? You know the bird is mechanical, but the light is still seen. Dad had 40 acres down on Birch Creek, about 4 miles north of Winona, Oklahoma. If you Google map it, you'll see that this creek running right through here is called Birch Creek. Dad had 40 acres down there in that bottom. His house set up on the higher part of the hill. It was not a teepee, it was a modern house built in the early 40s, replacing the old log house. The log house became his blacksmith shop. That was his home business. He had a forge, a big anvil, and all the tools and stuff. And people would bring work to him to fix stuff. He was a blacksmith. Had a little crank forge that would make fire come out real hot. And he used coal. Every year there was 2 tons of coal brought to us by Benson Lumber Company, Pawhuska, Oklahoma. I'm the youngest of 11, and most of the kids, when I was a child, were away from home. My 2 older brothers, just older than me, went to live with my oldest brother in Oklahoma City and helped him with the gas station. The 2 sisters that was just older than me, they went to live with the oldest sister, which didn't live too far from us. And they had cows and horses and chickens. They had a farm. But I hung out with Dad there until I left high school. When I was a child, I would sit by the creek and imagined I could fly with the birds. They would land in a tree, and I'd watch them, and they'd act like they're talking to me. You know how all kids are. When birds chirp, they think they're talking to them. But when the birds would fly, I felt like I could see through their eyes. Well, only the places that I knew. And I knew all around there for a mile in every direction. Every rock, every tree. I lived out there. Whenever I could, I went to the woods. I loved it there. There was a large waterfall at one end of the property from a creek coming in from this way to hit Birch Creek. I would bathe in there when I was a child under that waterfall. There was a big stone basin, and it was a waterfall most all the time, even when it got dry summers. There was another large rock falls that I played in a lot, and I had my first shame. I experienced my first shame at that rock falls, and I learned that no one can confront me with shame. One must attack me from a different angle. because I became aware of shame as a child. But my poetry comes from that peaceful time by the creek when I felt like I could fly like a bird. And I was only introduced basically to television in the 1950s. And it had not yet happened then. But now, I remember imagining myself flying with a bird, and I can see articles and stuff where they're using those little whirlybird things and a camera and taking incredible pictures of incredible places from the air. And I can really fly like an eagle now. I can imagine that little mechanical thing being a bird, and me that bird. Thus, this poem. As a child, I flew as a bird. Alone, I flew to see the places I knew. Now that I say you, but it's all of us, now that we can soar as an eagle, what excuse? What excuse? You know the bird is mechanical, but the light is still there. Soar as an eagle.